Hello and welcome to Consciously Awesome Living. I am your host, Sheila Applegate, and we're talking about how to make your life more magical and enchanted by exploring all kinds of things from manifesting and um, financial prosperity to teleporting and spirit guides. Because the more you explore the multidimensional existence that you have, the more wonderful your life becomes. So, today we are going to talk about animal totems and spirit guides. Now, you may know that I talked about communicating with animals just a couple of weeks ago. The response was so wonderful from all of you with your interests and questions. So I thought I would follow up with another one and we'll dive a little bit deeper in to the aspect of the animal totems and spirit guides, what that all means, and go deeper in and even explore a little bit about shape shifting and some of the fun things that you all have brought to my attention. So let's get started. And I want to start, I said we're talking about animal totems, but let's start by what is an animal totem? Because one of the questions that I get asked a lot is, what is my animal totem? And I think that's become a question that is sort of an entryway of how people join in to explore spirituality and spirit guide communication, which isn't bad, but I think we need to first honor where that comes from and why we're asking that and what that actually means. Because I think it's come to mean something different for a lot of people. So a totem is, by definition, a spirit being or a sacred object or a symbol that serves as an emblem of a group of people. So it's a cultural term. And the term totem actually is drawn from a Ojibwe word, which is indigenous language of the North Americas, especially within the Algonquin language family. Now, I know this is like more information than you may feel like you may need to know, but there were over 1,000 languages of the indigenous people of the North Americas. That's a lot of languages, right? And right here in the North America, not to talk about all the other parts of the world. And so what modern humans have done to try to categorize and understand them is to put them in clusters of family. And I'm telling you this because we've taken one word from one single group of people and we've made it a very mainstream word. And we need to honor its origin. And we need to realize that we don't want to simplify this, right? So this is a very sacred term that's honoring a group of people who were in deep sacred relationships with animals. And within that, there would be multiple different cultures on how they came to identify different animals. If you look at the Haudenosaunee near me, they each have a clan, and the clan is named with an animal because that group or family of people were associated with those characteristics originally, and then it also just becomes a way of identifying families. So, like we name, right? So this is so deep and it's so cultural, embedded in culture, which is why when I get asked, what is my animal totem? I get a little bit, I want people to understand the origin and I want people to treat the sacredness of that and not have it be some sort of kitsch type of concept that we just think is enticing. Now, at the same time, it's a wonderful way to start to work with the animal kingdom and start to connect with the animal kingdom and to begin to understand our connectedness to our connectedness to all people and all animals, and to be able to integrate that into our lives. So how would you know your animal totem? Let's just assume that you're going to be looking for your spirit guide. In the very same way that I don't think that we only have one spirit guide. I know that we have many spirit guides. I have done readings for people from around the world, and there's never just one spirit guide. And just like having many friends, the more we have guiding us, whether they're loved ones who crossed over or ascended or angelic type beings, crystalline soul beings, the more that we have access to, the easier life gets, right? But sometimes we have an affinity towards a single animal. That may be based on your characteristics. You may look at someone and just be like, oh, you're a bear, right? You're a bear. Now, I started nicknaming my daughter Bear right when she was born. And she certainly didn't look like a bear, but there's attributes of her that match that. So you may have an affinity towards a certain animal. That is a sign that that is one of your spirit guides. Your heart is calling to it. You're drawn to it. You may have characteristics that resemble a certain animal. That may also be an indication that you are very much connected to that animal, and you can learn from it because of that connection. Or some people go to a reader for it. Some people do use animal cards. Here's a couple different animal decks that I have. I didn't even find the one that I used most. I haven't been using them recently, but if you wanted, you can look at these different animal cards, and that's a great way to get to know many different animals. And you can draw one, and maybe focusing on one at a time as a single spirit guide will help you to get to know that being, that animal attribute archetype better than if you were to look at all of them. But you certainly can look at all of them. So when we look at animals, if you want to focus on one animal totem, that could be a spirit guide of an animal that would be with you and kind of your core being for the arc of your life. Or it may change over time as you are learning animals more and communicating with them more and growing and learning yourself. But I really feel like it's better. Spirit can always use a deck of cards, and spirit can always use a reader to help you find and be guided towards that. And certainly in some of the indigenous cultures, there were rites of passages where people would have sacred ceremony and be shown that in a vision. So in our times, doing a meditation may be a good way to come across that animal. And then you can always welcome others in as that changes, or you change, or you just expand to be able to communicate and connect to more throughout your lifetime. Now, working with animal guides is fun because they will show up in many different ways for you. And you'll feel that connection to them. One of the first things to do is to get to know the attributes of the animal that you are working with. I like to use this book. You can tell because it is so worn and torn. I've had this forever. And not only this is good for people in the North Americas. I think Ted Andrews might have another one for other parts of the world. Otherwise, you would want to find one that includes the animals that you're seeing. But this is one that I can look up any animal that presents itself to me, whether it's presenting itself to me by showing up, or I'm seeing pictures of it, or people are talking about it around me, or if there's a certain one that I'm working very closely with, I can come to this book and learn about it. But you would want to go through and feel the attributes, learn about them, and then look for that in your life, and then meditate and tune into them when you want to shift your attention into that. Now, one thing you can do, we talked about last week about teleporting and out of body experiences. You can shapeshift. The same person, same friend who had teleported into someone's house was also a shapeshifter. And I remember when I was in the hospital, very sick once, we lived in the same neighborhood, and he was known to shapeshift into a bear, and other people knew it. We were in the city, and there was a bear walking around our neighborhood, and it was in the newspaper, and people kept coming up to the hospital or contacting me at the hospital and saying, "You gotta tell him to go back because they're ready to shoot this bear." And so, that's just a funny experience. Do we know for sure that that was him? Everybody around me thought it was him. And he had definitely, one time I was with that same person, and we were in like a second or third story of a building, and this beautiful large woodpecker, like you would see in a cartoon, showed up on a tree and was looking at us inside the window. And I'm like, "Do you know anyone who shapeshifts?" And he goes, "Only me." So, that's fun. I have not tried to shapeshift. I don't really feel that I've had that experience, but it would be the same thing we talked about in that other episode. Imagine yourself as that bear or whatever animal you're working with, become it, get to know it, and then just play with it and experience that feeling of it, would be the way to do that. But animal guides will be supporting you, and the more you open to them, the more you play with these energies, the more you incorporate them into your being, the wiser you will be. I just saw an owl as I said that. The wiser you will be, because you won't be limited to this extraction that humans have from the animal kingdom with which we are a part of. So I am going to take you on a guided journey so that you can choose the animal guide that you would like to work with over this next period of time as soon as we get back.
We work so hard sometimes. Isn't it time for a break? Take a walk or enjoy nature, or maybe a leap or a ride, or even a dip. Spending time with a friend or some time alone. Whatever it is, always spend time growing and learning with a Soulivity weekend. Every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on Soulivity TV.
Hi, welcome back. We are talking about animal spirit guides, and are you ready to meet your spirit guide? Because I'm going to take you on a meditation to help you connect to the spirit guide for you to work with today and moving forward. And then you'll know how to do this in the future so that you can work with more spirit guides. And the more you learn about the animal that you are connecting to as a spirit guide, the more you will get to know them. But first, let's just take a minute to talk about how this works with animals. And we talked in the first part about how the attributes of a archetype of a certain animal may be like a guide to us, right? So we talked about the bear, and different attributes that the bear might have would be that strength and endurance, motherly love, like the den, the comfort. They're actually pretty gentle beings, but they have a strength, and they might be considered a healer or a herbalist because they're looking for berries and different plants like that. And you've got the deer that is considered to have stamina and strength and can go the distance, but is gentle, can hold its own, but isn't aggressive. And then you've got the coyote who just spins you around. Good luck if you have coyote medicine, and we all get that at some point. Or coyote as a spirit guide. Coyotes are known to be jokesters, so be ready to laugh at yourself. But, snakes are transformational. There's all different symbolic meaning, but the most important thing is for you to go inward and learn about it, but more importantly, see what it means to you. And the meaning of it for you may change over time or change in the moment. And that's how you receive the message, the guidance that you're looking for. And the thing to remember is we are all oneness. And I am talking about all these different aspects of non-physical communication and connection and exploration because they're wonderful aspects of our humanity. But I also talk about oneness a lot. In truth, we are all one. So these are reflections of our oneness. And so sometimes animals that come into our lives are actually really beautiful divine expressions of that oneness in animal form. And I have my beautiful picture here of Sammy, who was one of my dogs who passed away a few years ago. And he was so beautiful and so smart. He was just brilliant and such a love and so in tune and telepathic. But I learned that he also had incarnated and been with me more than once as a dog in this lifetime and has been a protector of me. And when he crossed to spirit, that I knew he was brilliant even when he was alive, which if you have a dog or an animal of any kind, I'm sure that you probably have that understanding of how they can be beautiful spirit guides. But it wasn't until after he crossed over that I was able to see the vision. And he was he presented himself after death as this incredible being that I would consider like an ascended master being, just a brilliant, strong light who has been on earth many times in many different forms and is still by my side in spirit. And I can make that connection, and even the playful humbleness that such a brilliant being would take form as my pet, as a dog in this lifetime to be by my side. So if we open our mind to consider the fact that in oneness we can all take different forms, and there is not the hierarchy of intelligence or awakeness that we may consider in our egotistical view of humanity, that sometimes the spirit within the animal that comes to us is as brilliant. Other times our loved ones will pop into an animal for a period of time to communicate with us because they can do that in oneness. So as we open up today, we'll do a mini meditation, and you can just open up just for today, because we can't put a lot of pressure on this, and we always have to be fluid and ready to move and ready to learn more and explore more and expand into new possibilities. So for today, let's see what animal wants to hang out with you for a while and help you learn and grow and expand and explore. So as we do this, I just ask that you take a comfortable position and take a moment, if you can, to get rid of any distractions around you so that you can tune in and receive. All right. So as you sit there very relaxed and comfortable, I ask that you take a deep breath in and release. Breathe in love and release joy. Breathe in hope and release passion. And then just take a moment to breathe out any doubt or fear as you breathe in love, and imagine yourself surrounded by a beautiful light of white and pink gold that is around you and filling you like a cloud, soft bubble cloud all around you. The light is penetrating into every cell of your being as you feel your muscles relaxing more and more. Feel the energy in your heart center as your heart opens to receive the love. And imagine that every cell of your body is absorbing this beautiful pink, golden rose light. And as you see, feel, and sense yourself in this beautiful bubble of light, with the muscles becoming more and more relaxed and your distracted thoughts floating away, imagine yourself now in a beautiful landscape, maybe a grassy field or an enchanting woods, or you may be by the ocean or in the snow. Whatever you imagine, take a moment to see the details. Notice the landscape, the sky. Listen around. Are you hearing birds? Are there animals? Take a deep breath in and smell the air. Is it the salt of the sea or the musty scent of the woods? The floral scent of a field? Just notice. And then, standing in this beautiful landscape, place your attention on your feet. Imagine that you're barefoot and you can feel the land beneath your feet. And as your attention is on this beautiful land, feeling it, smelling it, listening to it, all of your 5 senses awakened into this space. Placing your attention on your heart. You can feel the beam of light expanding from your heart into the entire area around you. This is your signature. This is your invitation, your welcoming. And it is heard by all of the animals around you. There's a moment of silence as they all listen, feel you, recognize you. You're just projecting your love. You may even project your fears or your doubts. It's okay. This is your signature message moving out into the landscape. And in that silence, the animal guide that is meant for you today feels the calling and approaches you. All the other animals are still around. You may hear the singing of the birds. You may hear all the other animals still alive in the landscape around you and smell the beauty of that area. But the one that is meant for you today is approaching you. And as it comes close to you, it is following your heart call. And notice this animal now in every detail. If you can name it, wonderful. If you know what type of animal and you recognize it, great. But if you don't, you can figure that out later. Just notice, is it a bird? or a four-legged? Or is it a snake that is slithering? Is it little or is it big? And notice the details. Notice the skin or the fur or the scales, the colors. Look into its eyes and listen. And as that beam of light moves from your heart, allow it to move into the heart of your spirit guide, the animal spirit guide that has come to you today. And in the silence, feel the connection and listen. You may get pictures in your mind. Many animals communicate through imagery. If you see a picture in your mind, assume that it is a message. And if you have a message you would like to share, do so with your heart and with the imagery, picturing it. Perhaps you want that being, that guide, the animal to come into your arms. Send it a picture in your mind's eye of holding it, and then there you are. If it's an animal you're not used to, you may feel surprised that you're calm and connected. Or you may want to keep your distance right now, and that is okay because you have forever to get to know this animal. So in this moment, just feel the energy and know that you will return here many times. Feel the joy and maybe receive that first message. And then, giving thanks, just open your eyes and you may still feel that golden rose light around you. The essence of the animal guide that has come to you today. Make a note of it and feel the gratitude, knowing that you will return there many times in your imagination and your meditation, but also now think about this animal, learn about this animal that has come to you. Learn about its traits, its behaviors, when does it sleep? When is it awake? What seasons is it active? And then imagine yourself with it, but look around for signs of it. Maybe you will see the word, the name of the animal. Maybe you will see a picture. Maybe you will start to see that animal in your life many times. And then enjoy the journey, getting to know this animal guide that has come to you today, knowing that you can always connect with others as well. We give thanks. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that it is the beginning taste of connecting to, if not your first animal spirit guide, then the next one on your list to communicate with for the next period of time and to incorporate into your family of guides. Have a beautiful week, and we will see you again very soon.
Soulivity Magazine and Beyond Words Publishing want to remind you about the importance of continuing to follow public health guidelines to protect yourself, your loved ones, and your community. Please continue to wear a mask, wash your hands, and watch your distance. Please visit these sites for further information about how to stay safe from COVID-19 into the new year. Remember,